So we conducted research into the cost of cybercrime, and we find that the costs are rising, not surprisingly, but they're still rising. We surveyed companies in 11 countries, and across all those 11 countries we did see the cost going up. But we also looked at which technologies are really helping you to reduce those costs. And there were some interesting findings in specific technologies that we found. So we've been conducting these surveys for a number of years. This was the 4th annual survey that we have done together with the Ponemon Institute, and our scope has been expanding over the years, increasing the number of countries. So it's a real global survey with some 300 interviews of different executives at companies. In our research, one of the biggest areas where we see change is actually the use of innovation by the adversaries. They're actually using artificial intelligence, they're using automation to scale, because you can say they've got a business to run as well, and they want to reach as many targets as they can, so they automate and they use intelligence to quickly figure out where am I going to have my biggest chance of getting in. So the level of sophistication is actually increasing. So human behavior is still fundamentally important to security, and if you don't address the human behavior, you can use as much technology if you like, but if the humans are not using the technology in the right way, you still have a vulnerability. For instance, as an example, if you implement strong authentication, if I give my credentials to someone else or allow someone else to use my account, then that's a breach. And if someone coerces me into giving them the credentials, then I'm basically the weakest link in that case. So technology can help a great deal, but training users, teaching users how to use that technology and how to leverage that technology is probably still the most important thing. Solving the human weakness, so to speak, is not easy because we often make it so hard for the users. We tell them what they cannot do. You cannot click on this link, you cannot open that email or that attachment, you cannot do this, rather than telling them what they can do. So rather than telling them don't use USB drives, give them an alternative. Make it easy for the user and make it self-explanatory for the user, that they realize, hey, this is going to help me, and actually I don't have to do things that I don't understand or that are very complicated. So in our survey we categorize a number of technologies that organizations are implementing and looked at which investments are yielding the biggest result in terms of bringing down the cost of cybercrime. And surprisingly, we found identity and access management actually has the biggest impact. Now, if you think about it, that shouldn't surprise you, because if you can protect the identity of people, that's the cornerstone of security. So a lot of organizations are investing at the moment in privileged access management, which is really helping to drive down the cost, because we see a lot of attacks are focusing on gaining privileged access. So that makes a lot of sense. The second category where we saw good return on investment is innovative technologies like artificial intelligence, machine learning, automation, basically remediating some of the weakness, the lack of capability that we have as humans, to actually augment that with technology like AI and machine learning and automation. Not surprisingly, we saw the things as perimeter protection has limited return on investment when it comes to bringing down the cost of cybercrime. So one of the biggest problems a CISO is struggling with is explaining to the board, to their organization, why security is so important. Well, they understand why security is important, but what exactly is important in security? Where should I invest? And we find that many CISOs only cover like 70% of the business. They may not cover the manufacturing process. They may not cover the rolling stock if you're a logistics or transportation company. And a lot of the business critical risks may actually be occurring in those areas outside of the remit of the CISO. So that communication with the board, translating security risks to business risk, is probably the biggest task a CISO has at the moment.